From KCBS Radio, I'm Mallory Somera, in for Matt Pittman, and this is Bay Current for Thursday, April 21st. Wednesday, April 20th, 2022, or sometimes better known as 420, the celebration of weed. Right at the edge of Golden Gate Park, at the top of the Pan portion of San Francisco's Panhandle, on the other side of Kezar Drive from Kezar Stadium and SFPD, is a massive grass field called Hippie Hill. Well, most recently, it's officially being called the Robin Williams Meadow, but it's where cannabis smokers from far and wide come together on April 20th every year to honor the herb. It's been going on since forever. Well, at least the early 70s. And growing up in the Bay Area, 420 at Hippie Hill was a familiar utterance for as long as I could remember. See, the area is no stranger to progressive celebrations. It's a hop, skip, and a roll away from the Haight-Ashbury district, and of course, in the middle of the epicenter of the famed Summer of Love. Organizers expected about 20,000 people. It did take me an hour to find parking, and I gotta say, I don't remember the last time I saw so many cars on the prowl in those little small UCSF adjacent streets. And I know I should have taken public transportation as it was heavily encouraged over social media, but as I can imagine, it was just as urgent for me and the other space hunters to get into the park by 420 to chronicle that moment when everyone lights up in unison.
Right now. Hold on, I'm gonna play a song for all my weed smokers. Everybody lights up. Sing to me 420. Front, back, if you smoking weed right now.
There were costumes, folks in shiny 49er bomber jackets, food vendors, a guy in a bright green jacket who dead-on looked like Albert Einstein. Mike Tyson was there promoting his cannabis company. Large Mac Dre stickers were being given out. And there was a DJ set tribute to Robin Williams. And lots of people waiting in lines. Oh, and of course, a ton of smoke. I saw comically large joints and glass bongs, and there was certainly no shortage of smiles. But this is a much different 420 than in years past. I mean, same energy, but 2022 was the first year there were on-site cannabis sales. Similar to when the music festival Outside Lands, also in Golden Gate Park, broke the mold by also welcoming the practice in 2019. And because it was being sold, the event was 21 and up, with IDs being checked at the door. People technically weren't allowed to bring in their own stash, with SFPD even tweeting out the rule, saying it was largely due to fentanyl overdoses. But let's just say enforcement was light. For some people, this was their first 420.
Okay, cool. What's your name?
My name's Troy.
Troy, and where are you from?
I'm from Utah.
You're from Utah?
Yeah.
Did you come here just for 420?
I didn't actually. It's my brother's birthday, and I actually extended my trip just to stay for 420.
Is this something that you do every year, or is this your first time?
No, I lived out here during COVID, and nothing was going on, so I have to make it back this summer and see all the cool stuff.
And are you here for 420 for the reason why everyone else is here for 420?
What's that reason?
To smoke weed in the park, unbothered, outside?
Well, I mean, I smoke weed everywhere anyways, but...
So does 420 mean anything then, or is 420 every day?
420 is every day.
Yeah. What about you? What's your name?
I'm Lily.
Lily, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Do you come to Hippie Hill every year?
This is actually my first time.
Oh, welcome.
Yeah.
How fun. Are you here for the music, for the weed, for...
More here for the weed
Yeah.
than anything. You know, the experience.
Did it bother you that you couldn't bring outside weed in this year?
They didn't even check.
I brought in my stuff.
And what's your name?
Alex.
Alex. Are you from the Bay Area or from Utah?
Utah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, so 3 people from Utah. All right. So for you, 420, is it every day? Is it?
Yeah, but I mean, 420 is its own thing. It's more special.
Yeah. How would you describe like the vibe and the energy out here today?
Oh, it's crazy. It's chill. Everyone's getting lit and having a great time.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
No, I haven't.
There were also attendees who say they've been coming to Hippie Hill for years. But someone with an especially close tie to the event was this gentleman.
Hello there.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Happy 420.
Hey, happy 420. Hey, so my name is Tajai Massey, and I run Calibaba, which is a custom cannabis subscription box.
He was being modest in his introduction, but Massey also happens to be the Tajai Massey, founding MC for Oakland rap icon Souls of Mischief, a puzzle piece for the multi-member hip-hop group Hieroglyphics. You can hear sirening in the background Oakland singer Gawapale, who collaborated with Hieroglyphics for one of their most popular tracks, Make Your Move.
So it's almost like a wine of the month club or grocery subscription, except it's cannabis-based.
That makes it sound more normalized, like how it is now, you know? It's like that was pretty common a few years ago, wine subscriptions, you know, beer subscriptions and stuff like that, and now it's weed.
Yeah, and also I think post-pandemic, a lot of people were worried about going out to anywhere, but let alone standing in lines, because cannabis was an essential service, standing in long lines at the clubs. Also, the clubs, not to knock them, I mean, they have their thing, but when you're paying for brick and mortar and a lot of employees, et cetera, your prices are astronomical, you know, compared to what we offer, which is almost distributor straight to client directly.
And I mean, you know, with the pandemic, I think there are a lot of things that we think of differently now, including like disabilities and accessibility.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely. We have a lot of disabled customers, and we also offer boxes that aren't necessarily just smokables. We also have some CBD stuff in our lines. So there are things that are almost all topical and edible, things like that. So we're trying to be inclusive of everybody and make sure that we're sensitive to everybody's needs.
How long have you been operating now?
We've been operating since last year.
Oh, okay, so it was during the pandemic.
Well, we saw the pricing and we saw an opportunity, and just talking to people, seeing that they were getting everything delivered from their meals to their groceries, etc. We said, hey, well, why don't we start putting these care packages together, and those turned into sort of a monthly subscription. It's been pretty successful. We got a good, loyal customer base. It's very easy. We pay our delivery drivers very well, and they build a rapport. It's the same person. It's not like you're calling a random deliverer to bring you a product.
It's like having a milkman.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like a postal, you know, a postal worker.
Well, we're Calibaba, so we call them our genies, but
nice.
We pop up once a month, and it's really been good, and we're building a strong rapport with our customer base, which I think is going to be important moving forward with cannabis. There's so many products that people want to feel some sort of connection to what they're getting.
Yeah. Have you gone to 420 a lot in the past, the event?
I've been going since high school.
And compared from now to then, how is it different now? Besides you now being a vendor
older,
here.
Right? Yeah, being a vendor is one thing, but also just like 420, there's a counterculture aspect to it. And now I'm not saying it's been co-opted, but it's more mainstream, and I think that's positive just for cannabis and cannabis culture in general, because this is, I mean, you know, I hate to sound cliche, but this is medicine put forth by nature to heal us, and that doesn't just mean physically but also socially. I mean, we see people from all different walks of life here coming together around this plant, and I think that's awesome. It's great. So I don't think that the mainstreaming is a bad thing, but definitely there was an element of danger and counterculture when you're cutting school to come out here and smoke with a bunch of teenagers versus being out here as an adult, you know, selling custom subscription boxes.
And getting advice from SFPD through Twitter about things not to bring to your 420 like weed festival. It's like,
to me, that's what the police should be doing, though, right? Policing isn't always about busting people; it's about safety. So if they're being advocates for safety, I'm not mad at that. I think the issues that we have with officers is oftentimes they're the people entrusted to protect us. Before, when a cop walked the beat and, hey, Johnny, how you doing? You felt safe and you felt like that person was a part of the community. So this is a step towards making them embrace this community, which is everybody, right? All walks of life, all ages, etc. I think it's a positive thing. It's the Bay Area at the forefront of a lot of movements, right? The hippie movement is from here. The Black Power movement is from here. The women's movement, movement for people with disabilities. So it's not just rallying around necessarily a plant or something like that. We are some sort of vortex or nexus where we push culture.
I think the trippiest part about walking into the festival was definitely seeing the large vendor signs stretched out on huge metal structures. So instead of a guy with a bucket hat and a Jansport backpack skating by you and whispering weed, there was legal currency exchange. There's now a legitness of the festival. It was, after all, sponsored by Weed Maps, but the commercial aspect of cannabis now oftentimes under scrutiny as people with weed-related offenses, especially those in Black and brown communities, still sit in jail. But Massey sees this community-modeled event as an opportunity to learn, shift, and evolve the culture.
I think a lot of the corporatized portion of it might not, and co-opting of it may not be the best thing. I mean, and that's the same with Silicon Valley and all those types of things, right? So we have these great tools like the internet and you know, even some of the surveillance technology, face recognition, all these things that can make our lives so much easier. And it's really about those who are in control using them for the right means. So I'm hoping that this, which seems still organic, still seems familial and community-based, for this to sort of be, to move in that direction.
Yeah.
But, you know, we can't, there's always something sinister. And so I'd say just remain vigilant, you know, get high, don't get too high, you know, and keep your eyes open.
And lastly, the energy here that you've noticed, I'm assuming you've been out here all day.
Yeah.
There's a ton of people here, and I'm just like covering the lawn and the hill and everything. What's been the energy or like the vibe that you've been getting all day?
It's been nothing but love for us. Also, I think post-pandemic, people are really observing people's personal space and respecting people's personal space, which I think is a positive side effect of this sort of last 2 years where we've been sort of unable to even interact with each other. So it's been really cool. I think that the fact that there's no alcohol here might have something to do with that too. And I'm not, you know, going to bash somebody's, you know, what they're into, but I really think that it's a positive thing because 420 is about the herb, and I'm glad it's just about the herb.
It seems as though 420 at Hippie Hill, while it is about that one thing, it's more than that one thing at the same time. San Francisco rapper Burner, who just finished chemotherapy and is in remission, was on stage for the strike of 4:20 p.m. And he had this to say about being there.
3 months ago, I was laying in the hospital bed, picturing just this. I was thinking just about this right here. If you feel good to be alive right now, make some noise.
I was packing up my equipment when 5 p.m. hit, which was a hard stop for organizers. And host Chris Riggins had a few things to say as people made their way out for the day.
Don't pee in the bushes, we got toilets. We want to do this again next year, so make sure y'all leave quietly. Neighbors around here working.
And something I hadn't seen in a really long time, lines and lines of bacon-wrapped hot dog carts. New episodes of Bay Current are out every day, and we'd love to be a part of your daily routine. Please subscribe to Bay Current on the Odyssey app, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, or just about anywhere you listen. We're also on YouTube on the KCBS Radio YouTube page. That's it for today's Bay Current. I'm Mallory Somera in for Matt Pittman. We'll chat with you again tomorrow.